A very good afternoon to all the viewers. Welcome back to another episode of BW People HR Voices. Today we're joined by Ms. Prathima Prabhu, the Chief People Officer at Marlabs. As she leads the people function globally at Marlabs since 2013, her primary focus areas include culture transformation, global M&A, organization development, and global people policies. Prior to joining Marlabs, she has held key leadership positions at Huawei, to AdPro Media Solutions, which is now Deloitte Digital, and Siemens Information Systems. Firstly, welcome, Ms. Prathima. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Savi. Look forward to this.
So, for all the viewers, today's conversation is going to revolve around how to elevate the talent management at workplace in India. Also, how to navigate the talent management beyond workplace duties. Now, as we're speaking along the lines of talent management beyond workplace duties, we have to talk about the philosophy of making your presence felt. So, Ms. Pratibha, can you shed some light on what this philosophy actually is and how does it transcend the workplace duties and becomes a comprehensive approach which influences the personal as well as professional interactions at work?
Yeah, sure. Making your presence felt is a very powerful behavior, in my opinion. While it may seem fairly simple statement, the underlying message that we give to folks around us, be it our colleagues at work, family, friends, and beyond, it indicates the ownership and responsibility that we take for anything, whether or not it is expected out of us. In this context, I believe that there's a very thin line which differentiates professional as well as personal interactions. It
Mhm.
doesn't really matter what role one is playing, but what matters is how we show up or how we take responsibility for a situation, and that is all that matters. This is
Right.
about looking for opportunities in every problem statement and taking ownership without any expectations. And it's such an important trait in today's ever changing world. Organizations today are battling with so much of uncertainty, working with ambiguity. Adapting to change is the key differentiating factor for any individual, and likewise in a life situation as well. At
Right.
work, if I have to give a context, it is about how we show up with our stakeholders, customers, and even our team members. As leaders, for example, if I make my presence felt, I can expect that my team members will pick that up as a behavior and do that with their team members or with their stakeholders.
Right.
If I have to draw another context here, right, in a sales role, for example, how often are you showing up with your customers? Do you understand their problems? Are you the go to person for them whenever they want a solution to be developed? If you have watched the movie The Pursuit of Happiness, you will know what I'm talking about. In this movie, Will Smith is a testament of this behavior. Ultimately, I believe that making your presence felt is what defines success to an enterprise or an individual. Furthermore, when you make your presence felt, you are the person who are most sought upon in an organization. You are the one who is being noticed. And these are the folks who are on the fast track to success. And you'll
Right.
observe that whether or not it is in my purview of work, whether I can influence change or not, if I take responsibility, I will be the one who's always being reached out to. And with the confidence that no matter what, I will either provide a solution or I will enable a solution. And that is the power of ownership today. Um, Again, it has multiple benefits, I would say. And if you look at the current challenges that organizations are grappled with of getting people back to work, there is so much of a resistance to come to office from employees today, including the millennials, because all of us have sought the comfort of working within the four walls of our house, right? But what people are missing here is the social connect.
Mhm.
With every organization process that can be handled online in today's world, it is about putting a face to the name. It is about how well we understand our team members. And the message that people are missing here today is it's not about organizations wanting to manage productivity. It's not about utilization, so on and so forth. It's about how much, as a manager, do I understand my team members personally? Even in this working world, right? And I believe that unless you have met them, you will never be able to make that personal connection. We know Zoom meetings work fantastic, but I sincerely believe that If you do not show up, the personal connect will always be a void.
Right. I agree with you. I think meeting physically at office definitely helps in team cohesion better. And as we're speaking along the lines of employee ownership and responsibility, as an HR leader, how do you think you can create a balance between employee ownership versus fostering a team environment which is more collaborative and there's more team cohesion? How do you strike a balance in that?
See, according to me, ownership and collaboration go hand in hand. I firmly believe that ownership is more intrinsic in nature, while collaboration is something that we learn through observation. And both these traits are imperative to drive enterprise success today. In my experience, successful people are those who take a lot of ownership about any work that they do as if it were their own. They just don't see a problem, they just take it up. These are your hidden warriors. They are not concerned about the rewards that follow, but they're more focused on identifying a solution or solving a problem. And I'm of the firm opinion that it all starts with our leaders. If I have to speak in the context of Marlabs today, the executive leadership level or their direct reports, for us, ownership and collaboration are non negotiable. And our core values cover all these aspects for us. One of the initiations that we did or initiatives that we took in the recent past is the propagation of our culture and values throughout the length and breadth of the organization. For example, one of our core values is purpose driven. What it means is it's all about ownership, collaboration, big picture thinking. How do we represent as one Marlabs with our customers through the power of collective and demonstrate the big picture thinking? And the way we have run this initiative is has been highly impactful, I would say, in driving this message. We started by educating all of our leaders about the values, core values, and these happened through a series of dedicated interactive and fun sessions. The engagement initiatives that we drive at Marlabs, all of this focuses on propagating this culture. It includes activities which center around the behavior of collaboration and the realization and the impact of such behaviors. We share a lot of learning nuggets with our folks within the organization, videos, quizzes, and we drive the message home. The other thing that we also do is we feature culture champions who live by these values.
Do you see a drastic change in terms of the outcome that you're seeing after these initiatives? And what are some of the changes that you're seeing once you've put in these initiatives at Marlabs?
I wouldn't say there has been a drastic change because, in my opinion, any sort of behavior change takes its own time. It's a steady process. But that being said, I have seen a lot of people connecting to the message that we are saying today. At least I know for a fact. I mean, if I have to give you just a very simple example, one of the challenges that we always had post COVID when we moved to the team's way of working, one of the things that we saw was most people would not even turn on their videos during team meetings, right? But just speaking about ownership, collaboration, making your presence felt, one of the things and propagation of this culture which drives these kind of behaviors for us. Today, at least everybody turns on their video. And if they don't, we make it a point. Any one of us within the group say, why don't we all come on video and talk to each other? I mean, I don't really want to be talking to screens anymore, So yes, there has been some changes, but I think it's slow and steady.
Right. So now we're talking about multi-generational workforce. You did mention about the Gen Z and millennials. They have their own career expectations. They have their own set of beliefs, their own set of values that they come on board with, right? They expect a certain sense of flexible work arrangement, and especially post the pandemic. So how do you accommodate your talent management strategy to adapt to these expectations that these different generations have?
You just brought a smile on my face by asking me this question. It's interesting and intriguing at the same time, I would say. Because if you look at the current workforce today, right, about 70% of them, or I would say even over 70% of them, comprise of millennials and Gen Z. Their priorities are very, very different than the earlier generations. If you look at it, these folks are driven by constant change. They are not under any pressure to build any financial security as it is already provided for by their parents. At the same time, money is important for them for short term success. They're constantly comparing with their peers. They believe in pursuing a passion. And for them, a job is only a means to get there. Interestingly, this generation also associates with a larger picture. And when I'm saying that, what interests them is how do they get to be part of a customer solution. They are constantly awed by the latest technology enhancements. They're hungry to always be updated, right? At the same time, we have seen how this generation is so heavily influenced by social media. It is very confusing, if you ask me. With such diverse behaviors and personalities, we must constantly reinvent the wheel to keep them engaged. And this is, I think, this is what we're all striving to do. And like I said earlier, it is important to understand what drives and motivates an individual, because at the end of the day, each one of us is motivated by something different, right? Based on our own intrinsic needs. If I have to quote some of the initiatives that we undertake at Marlabs, we encourage like our CEO always says, you should treat the company as if it were your own. So we encourage the entrepreneurial spirit for every Martian. We call ourselves Martians. For instance, at a project level, every process owner is the leader of that particular process, and it doesn't really matter if it is a fresher or if it is a team lead. By doing so, what we have seen is they automatically take up ownership and responsibility. They are empowered to drive change within their function. They have a voice and they are heard. And this makes a huge difference in the way they deliver. We also encourage our Gen Z workforce to partake in a lot of key organization initiatives. This gives them an opportunity to connect with the senior leaders and have accessibility to the leadership. For instance, one of the initiatives that we are currently driving is the ESG Charter for Marlabs. And the implementation team comprises of several Gen Z Martians. This is their way of contributing to a cause and being part of a bigger picture. Of course, there is this need to be on social media at all points in time. So what we also do is every achievement of a Martian is propagated on our social media handles, and these are true achievements. Learning, certifications, any sort of mentions, awards, recognition. Everything is made public. We also, in collaboration with our marketing team, run a program called Martian Unearthed. What this does is it showcases not just the work that a Martian does, not just his or her work personality, but also the passion behind the individual. And we encourage our employees to pursue their passions through social groups within the organization. And I believe that this also is a generation which appreciates candid conversations, and we encourage a lot of this in open forums. And like I said, this is an ongoing and continuous initiative.
Right, I agree with you, Prathima. I think today we're seeing that recognition is more appreciated than rewards, especially in the younger talent that's coming in organizations. Now as we speak along the lines of challenges that comes with talent management strategies, how do you nurture and retain the top talent at your organization? What are some of the ways? And also, how do you identify the high potential employees at the organization?
I work in the tech industry, right? And if I have to draw a parallel here, the technology landscape is changing so fast that it is almost becoming impossible or difficult to keep up with the emerging and latest skills. And I'm sure this is a challenge that many organizations are facing today. And somewhere it has a rippling effect on how we deliver with our customers or what expectations our customers have of us, right? So most often, incidentally, the belief is that talent retention is attributed to pay increases. What we forget, though, is that through addressing only this part of the problem, we're only pushing the problem but not really solving it. The question to ask is, how do you determine who is critical to you? Do you understand what their needs are and where our focus should be? And this situation can keep changing at any given point in time. Every employee's, like I said earlier as well, every employee's need is different. They're driven by a lot of personal factors. What we attempt to do here is understand what drives an individual, and we try and channelize an energies there. If you were to ask me our retention strategy, I would say it's a mix of compensation, rewards, tangible, intangible, learning, The role that somebody gets to play, higher order responsibilities, and needless to say, work life balance as well. For example, what we do is we pair them with the right set of mentors who can inspire them at work. We involve them in customer conversations, which gives them an exposure to understand how they're helping solve a problem for the customer. We create platforms for constant learning, and our employees get to keep themselves abreast with the latest technologies. Something which is very close to my heart that we implemented on Marlabs is we created something known as the Red Exchange. And this is a platform where Martians come and participate in a showcase where they get to present some amazing project works that they have done for our customers. This is a showcase which is hosted on the last Thursday of every month. And pretty much every employee globally gets to witness this showcase. The outcome has been phenomenal because suddenly there is a lot of awareness in terms of, okay, I'm not stuck to my project alone. I am now aware of what else happens in Marlabs, right? What kind of technology stacks are being used? How do I draw similarities to the work that other teams do? This generation, I would say the millennial generation, also believes and appreciates a lot of honest conversations. They're inspired by organizations which can contribute to the environment and the world at large. And another intervention that we did in from a retention perspective, and even bringing this awareness, is we developed a program called the Managerial Excellence Program, and this forms the crux of addressing the need of every single Martian. Today, for example, if I am leading a team of 40, do I understand that one size does not fit all? We created this program which also included gamification. More importantly, the outcome was that every manager who underwent this program is now able to understand and appreciate the differences that the team brings, the strengths that they bring to the table, the challenges that they have, and they're able to work around them and allocate, responsibilities accordingly, right? Secondly, as and when an employee decides to move on, one thing that I believe is they never put the true reason for moving on from the company. So, to understand this, while we proactively have addressed with a lot of initiatives trying to understand people's mindsets, we also partnered with an external agency who conducts exit analysis for us. And this team comprises of psychologists who divulge the actual reason, why an employee has left Marlabs. And the interesting fact for us, which I said at the beginning, is most people, while they quote compensation as a reason for moving out, that's the least of all the reasons. So, what we also do is we use these reports to be able to bring those changes or drive those changes at a leadership level. And through all these initiatives, we saw that there's a steady increase in the ENPS score for us in the last 1 year, and it is a continuous intervention.
Great. Lovely to know the initiatives that Marlabs has taken up towards employees. Lastly, when we talk about the changing landscape of technology, we know that generative AI is coming in this space, Meta, AR, VR, all these technologies are automating the tasks, right? So how does it help you how do you leverage these technologies, let's say data analytics, to enhance your talent management strategy? And does it help you to make more and better informed decisions?
Yes, you just broached a topic which is very, very close to my heart. If you see our tagline, it says driving digital agility. And this is something that we do not just with our customers, but also with our stakeholders, investors, and our employees.
Great.
While traditionally we always focused on applying data to drive outcomes for our business leaders, COVID actually opened up a lot of avenues for us to go digital completely. That is when we started focusing on digitizing the entire employee life cycle, right from hiring to exit. More importantly, we used our systems to drive efficiency within the organization, right from sales, finance, HR, procurement, including our travel desk. Within HR itself, the entire employee lifecycle is digital today. While we have focused on developing all these applications which drive meaningful outcomes for our leaders and helps them make informed decisions, I would say, the goal for us is to have a single source of truth across the organization, and that can happen only through digitization and systems. We have used Power BI to develop a lot of dashboards within HR, which gives a view of not just employee demographics, the traditional HR dashboards, but also key organization information, which is accessible real time by our leaders, right? The goal there is to ensure that there is no dependency on any one individual for data. And this is all available real time, which helps us in quicker decision making. One example that I would love to share with you is how we manage our entire talent fulfillment process within Marlabs. And when I'm saying talent fulfillment, I am not just speaking about talent acquisition or hiring, but the entire process of ensuring that our employees are future ready or project ready at any given point in time, right? Accessibility of information is available for all the stakeholders through the process. But more importantly, for me, the goal was how do I ensure that this flow happens in the right manner? For example, if I have to start from the time an opportunity is created within the CRM, right, which is used by our sales folks, even at a 40% probability, what happens is immediately there are triggers which are sent out to our workforce management group, or it is sent out to our talent acquisition group. So parallelly, everybody started working on that project requirement, and they do not wait for an official request to be raised for hiring. While this comes to the WMG group, what we do is we go back and check, if anybody is coming on bench, what is the upskilling, reskilling that we need to do to ensure that the moment somebody is rolled off on bench, he or she is put on another project immediately. If I do not have a solution internally, how do I go back to the market to hire? So this entire dashboard that we built around resource demand, it's a very powerful load of information, and pretty much right from sales to delivery to TA, every stakeholder has access to it and they can track the progress real time. And this is a real business scenario today, right? Apart from such dashboards, which add a lot of value to our business leaders, within the HR team itself, our mantra is how do we make our lives easy? And when I'm saying this, how do we drive maximum output through efficiency and through automation? Every process within HR is currently automated, and I think that truly makes us an agile organization. We also make efforts to measure the impact of some of our interventions, I would say.
Great. So we can conclude by saying that with real-time monitoring and with so much of data analytics, the dashboards, the traditional dashboards are today transforming into insight boards.
Yes.
So, Prathima, most of our viewers, they are HR leaders, employers, employees. What would be your last piece of advice to them?
This is for everybody. I wouldn't limit this to the HR fraternity. I'm a firm believer of seizing every opportunity and making the most of it. I think rewards automatically will follow, but how we adapt to change, how do we take a problem and delve into a problem without really wondering whether it's part of my problem or not. I think these are traits and attributes which are very much required in today's world. And I would say, I would urge everybody to look at it that way.
Thank you so much, Prathima. Thank you for giving us your time and being here with us today. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Savi.